Hello and welcome back to episode 2 of Fogdog and Basten. Sorry for the delay in getting this episode out. We have had a pretty busy weekend. We've just got back from National Cross Country. Basten, how was it? Didn't quite go as planned for both of us, but what are your kind of thoughts on the weekend?
Yeah, so going into the race, I was pretty much 100% positive I was going to be top 1 individually. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. That obviously didn't work out. No, I thought going into it, there was maybe like an outside chance I could get in the top 40 and get one of those All-American spots. Yeah. I know Fog was thinking the same thing.
Absolutely.
Obviously, it didn't happen for either one of us. Not even close for either one of us. Further for me than for him. Yeah, this was one of those days, kind of like outdoor 5K at conference for me, where I can look back at it and honestly just laugh. Yeah. Because it was just so bad. Yeah. Like,
it's a good learning experience there.
That's
what they all say.
Yeah.
I mean, same for me, honestly. Going into it, Florida State, you hear it's a really nice course and everyone runs really quick there. And it was very quick. I wore my watch. I always do in cross country. I love to, get it up on Strava and see what was kind of going on throughout. But it's such an underrated course for, obviously it's quick, but it's incredibly difficult. Overall pretty flat, but there's one massive hill every lap. And I just got completely found out by it. 500 meters in, I was pretty tired already. It definitely didn't go as planned. Could have probably been worse. Honestly, the field was just so unbelievably strong.
Yeah. I think a good way to put it was, obviously there's 10 to 15 guys that are just slightly better than everyone else. And I think no matter how you draw it up, those guys are going to finish there. Yeah. But really after that, you got 150 people that are good enough to get top 40, and every day different results are going to happen. And
absolutely.
That's just kind of how it was. And the 40 people that were top 40, they were that day. You never know if they would have been on any other day. I mean, that's the beauty of cross country. But really that course was really meant to benefit 1,500 runners, 5K guys, just shorter guys like Fog and I. But man,
quite the opposite.
Quite the opposite. I mean, and we can just make excuses and say that it doesn't benefit because we did bad. But when you look at the results, obviously my 1,500 final, I talk about it a lot, was probably the best 1,500 final in NCAA history.
Yeah, the 2021 outdoor final, won by Cole Hocker.
And
6th at the Olympics.
Yeah, and of those 12 guys, I think only 3 or 4 of them left.
Yep.
And not a single one of us 8 that were in that race finished in the top 40.
12 in the final, 2 left and went pro, I think. Cole and Waleed.
Yeah.
No one of the field of 12 in the 1,500 final outdoors was top 40 in cross.
No.
Which is unbelievable.
And really only one of them was close, right?
Elliot Kipsang.
And Garcia Romo was close as well.
Yeah, Mario Garcia Romo from Ole Miss, and then Kipsang. I think Kipsang was 50-something, which, it goes to show just how well everyone is running. And I think we both felt well prepared. We really don't have any excuses. Our training had been going well. Maybe you had a little bit of a cold kind of leading up. But I think, honestly, overall, we were pretty ready for that day, and it just wasn't what we hoped it would be.
Yeah.
That's the way running is, though, and it's one of those things.
I would say, for me, obviously, I don't know if I could have gotten top 40 anyway, but a reason why I finished 200 in a millionth place was it was definitely more mental than physical. Obviously, I wasn't feeling physically good, and I was a little bit sick all week, but I think as soon as I hit the line, I was ready to give up. And I gave up 200 meters in when I went out hard and realized that I was still close to last. And yeah, I guess for 9.8K, I was just mentally checked out. Yeah.
And it's once you're at that point, it's so hard to come back from it. Our coach Jay kind of had a plan for both of us. It was pretty similar. For me, it was kind of get a little bit closer to the front than it was for Basten, but it was kind of get out hard without being ridiculous, and kind of settle in about anywhere from 40th to 60th, 70th early on. And I went out hard, by my watch, I was 2:35 through the K, 4:19 through the mile. Obviously, the official race splits are a little bit slower than that. But like a couple hundred meters in, I was in an okay position, and then you just start getting swallowed up. And I think one of the things that was for both of us, it was our first national cross country. And I think one of the things that we're not really used to is being in a race with a field that size. And kind of in the first 500 meters, there's 250 guys who are all trying to be at the front. And then when it narrows. And if you're not right up there and you're not used to kind of being in a big pack, it can be pretty daunting. And I think I felt that. I was in a bad spot, probably 2K in, and then there was just no coming back from that point. Yeah.
It's such a huge shock when you go out a week. Was it 2 weeks prior? 2 weeks prior at conference.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you go out in 250 for the first K, and you're tied for the lead or a step back from the lead pretty much alone.
Yeah.
And then you go to regionals, and Fog was about 235 for the K. I was closer to 240, 242.
At regionals? Or?
Yeah, regional. Or
Nationals.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Nationals. I was probably closer to 242-ish through the K. And, man, I was pretty close to last place.
Yeah, so you're running 4:25 mile pace.
Yeah.
And you're nearly at the back of the pack.
Which is ridiculous.
Like, how much quicker can you go if you put in a spurt to try and get up? And obviously, maybe looking back on it, we should have tried to get ourselves further up. But I felt like I was sprinting. And, you know, maybe it would have worked out a little better if we had gone even harder for a little bit longer at the start to work our way through that pack. But honestly, I don't really think we had much choice, and it kind of showed with Yared Naguse. He qualified for the Olympics for the 1500 for the US this year. Obviously, got injured, didn't end up running at the Olympics, unfortunately. But with 2K left, I was in a bad way, and I flew past him. Like he was in a bad way, and then obviously Cooper Tier, another one. Like credit to him for finishing. That was unreal.
Yeah, looking back at it, I don't know if I would have done anything differently. I went in with that strategy of getting out a little bit slower because I really thought people were going to die out there, but they just didn't. And honestly, I think if I would have went out that hard, I would have.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think we were well prepared, but we weren't prepared to go out at 2:35 and be kind of getting dropped.
Yeah.
So I mean, unreal running from the guys at the front. Connor Mance, Kip 2, Kyoko in third, Charles Hicks in fourth. That guy has really surprised me this year. Just unbelievable running. And then for guys like Yard and Cooper Tier, that was hard to see. I remember with about 300 to go, I came running in and I saw I was in a pretty bad way. Like I was very tired, and on my right, just ahead of me, Cooper Tier was kind of like stumbling along, and I gave him a little pat on the shoulder and said, "Go on, Cooper, like, come on, you're nearly there." Not really realizing, knowing he was in a bad way, but not realizing like he was in a bad way. Like I tapped him on the shoulder, said like, "Come on, Coop, finish off," and he fell down straight. Like I tapped him, and he fell over. That was kind of at the start. Well, for what I saw, kind of the start of his like. Stumbling along kind of thing, and then obviously he had another couple of 100 meters down to the finish, but credit to him. You'll hopefully have another national cross next year. That could be my one and only. We'll see. Maybe back, maybe not. So it was an experience. And now we're moving on to indoor track. Can't wait to open my season on December 11th. Yeah. And I think that'll be great. I can't wait to see what you do during indoor. Probably a 3K or mile season opener. And a great way to kind of move on from cross country. But before we get to indoor, we've got quite a few questions that we're going to answer. If you are listening on a different app to YouTube, get on YouTube if you want to ask us a question. We can answer them, and every episode we're going to kind of try and make an effort to get to pretty much all the questions that we find interesting, and kind of give our best answers to those for the viewers. So pretty much starting it off, this question is kind of directed at both of us, and it's asking about our time goals, specifically for the 1500. So Christopher Hamill, what's the time goals for outdoor track this year, respectively? Sub 3:37 for both, or will Foggy be focusing more on the 5K this year as he had that great race in England? Go on, Basten, start us off.
Well, not easy. My time goals realistically are just under 3:37.5 because that's it is the Olympic trial standard, but it's also the U.S. trial standard. And this next year there will be World Championships, and I really would like to qualify for at least the U.S. Championships, and then who knows, see how far I can make it into the rounds, and who knows, if I'm lucky enough.
Yeah.
World Championships, here I come. But
Find yourself on a U.S. team.
But no, like realistically, just get over 3:37.5. Just because I want to be at that race, get some more experience under me. But then, just in general, this is just a me thing. All college runners do differently. I don't like to set time goals. I want to win nationals in whatever event I do. So whatever it takes to beat Yara and Kip Sang, they run 3:30. I'm gonna run 3:29.
Yeah.
And if they run 3:40, then I'm gonna run 3:39. So that's kind of where my standpoint is.
Yeah. Completely fair. I think winning national title would be huge, and it's a good goal to have, definitely. For me, sub 3:37 is something I think is pretty realistic. I think maybe on a good day, if we get in a good race, we could go a little bit quicker than that. I honestly thought we probably would this year. Well, I mean, given your progression, maybe not you at the start of the season, but by the end, you're the one who made the national 1500 final. So I think both of us can run probably, hopefully, under 3:37. We'll see that. We'll see. And kind of that second part of the question, asking if I'm going to be kind of focusing on some of the longer stuff. Focusing on the 5K for outdoor is kind of an interesting one. We'll see what happens through indoor and outdoor. I probably will open up indoor with the 3K, and I think it'll be really interesting. Seeing kind of how the work we've done over the summer and then during cross country will kind of translate into the track. I've never had as much of a base under me as I do now, and I think it definitely will pay off in the short stuff, in the 1500s and miles, but it could pay off in the longer stuff. And I kind of did see that at the back end of the summer, running that 13:45 5K on the roads. That kind of wet my whistle a little bit for the longer stuff. But I mean, I just got absolutely hammered at national cross country, so it's a tough one. Yeah, it's a tough one. It really is. I'll kind of see what happens over the next few months. Kind of hopefully run well indoor and see what happens. But moving on from that, one of the questions that has always kind of been asked of us both quite a lot, and it's technically addressed to me in this, but it is definitely quite a big one for both of us, I think. So Basten, you can go first with this. From To See the World on YouTube, did you ever consider transferring from Drake to a school in one of the Power 5 conferences?
Well, I'm going to start this off with, wow, it would be fun to see the world. My short answer realistically, no. The only time, there's only really once where guys were even considering transferring, and probably we'll get into that next, but for me, I wasn't good enough at that point. So I really didn't become the runner who I am now until this last outdoor season. And so this outdoor season, obviously, it had to go through my mind a little bit, just being in that final with all Power 5 school teams, individuals. It definitely crossed my mind once or twice, but when you think about transferring, you're changing a lot of things in your running, just what you're doing on a daily basis. Like, Oregon does different stuff every day that we do. Iowa State does different stuff every day that we do. Every school does different stuff. And it works for some people and it doesn't work for some people. I mean, not every team develops every single athlete they get.
No.
And so when you're in a training plan and you're consistently getting better with crazy progression in that training plan, why don't you change it?
Yeah.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And so
it's a good saying. Honestly, I couldn't even name the Power 5 conference, I don't think. Not that really relates to the question. I can assume that Power 5 conferences are big schools, but I just really don't know that much about the whole NCAA in general. You know, I know quite a few of the big schools, but I struggle keeping up with conference meet results. I'm very interested generally in the running world, but I find the whole NCAA pretty confusing. And you know, when I first came over to Drake, so many people in Australia, in England, from wherever, were kind of saying, why are you going to Drake? Like, why Drake? And it was really interesting, and kind of a couple of years ago, around about now, I was kind of questioning that myself, because when we first came, me and Basten came to Drake at the same time, when we first arrived, the head coach was Mark Carroll, double Olympian, Irish, 350 miler, 7:30 for 3K. Unreal run. And he was like one of my main deciding factors in coming to Drake, you know, learning from someone like that. Not necessarily that a great athlete is always going to be a great coach, but they've obviously been there, done that, and you know, it was going to be cool to learn from him.
It's gotta help.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think it did. We both had a solid enough first semester. I ran better in cross country in that first semester than I ever had done before. And I think the strength work really kind of paid off. The strength work in the sense of that's kind of what most NCAA schools kind of focus a bit more on. But he left after our first semester. Around about 2 years ago right now, Mark Carroll, our head coach, called an urgent team meeting and he announced he was leaving. And at the time, it was kind of a little bit of a shock. It was one of the things that kind of was huge for me coming straight. And in that moment, I was like, well, Carroll's left. Jay Colisius, who's our now head cross country coach, and he handles the distance people as well during track. And he's been great all the way through. He's a very personable person. He gets along well with all the boys and girls, and he's someone who is great to have. And I was worried he would follow suit, follow Carroll, or go somewhere else. And if that happened, that's when I would have thought about leaving. So it crossed my mind, but only because I thought Jay was going to leave as well. And if Jay left, we would have been on our own.
We really would.
Yeah.
And then you get coaching turnover, which nobody really wants. And I said, well, the reason why I didn't want to transfer in the first place was because I didn't want to do a different training plan. I didn't want to try something that might not work for me, especially when what was going on was working for both of us. And when both of your coaches leave, then it's just a given that you're going to have to. So, yeah, if Jay would have left, honestly, I probably would have as well. I'm sure both of us would have left.
Yeah.
It was sad. Then the Fogdog exclusive never would have happened.
Yeah.
Our pod never would have happened.
Wow.
Never
the world would be a different place.
We have 2 less bullets.
Yeah. My mullet is still coming along nicely. If you're not on YouTube right now, get on, you can have a look. There it is for the loyal YouTube viewers. And speaking of YouTube, obviously the Fogdog exclusive has been up and running. We're coming up for our 2-year anniversary. We're coming up to 10K subscribers. It was January 2020, so in a couple of months we'll be there. From Chaser, who is a loyal Fogdog subscriber, and I heard is now a loyal Fogdog and Basten subscriber, would Basten make his own YouTube channel?
I get that one a lot, just because you're the big shot and I'm the up and coming boy. So yeah, that's a question I get a lot. My short answer to that would be no, but at least that's short term. Long term maybe, but if I did have a YouTube channel, it wouldn't be quite like what Fogdog does. So what Fogdog does is amazing, and that works really well for him. But we're all our own people, and I think while running is a major aspect of my life, I'm also a big fashion guy. I collect shoes. I have way too many pairs. You couldn't even guess how many pairs. Actually, if anyone guesses how many pairs of shoes I have in the comments,
you'll give one away.
Yeah, I'll give a pair of my Yeezys away.
Don't put it that.
Yeah,
I'll
give you a hint. It's in the 3 digits. Yeah, but I love fashion and I love gaming, which is 2 kind of weird things that usually don't go hand in hand. But
polar opposites. Yeah.
If I did a YouTube channel, I would have to have some sort of gaming or fashion aspect in there, maybe as well as running. So if I did, it would look completely different. But right now, don't have time to, nor do I normally I'm willing to put in the effort. Honestly, the stuff he does on a daily basis for his YouTube channel is crazy. So props to him, but I'm too lazy.
It's good fun. It's rewarding as well, and I think I completely understand that. But it's good that we've now got Fogdog and Basten. We've got our own YouTube channel together. For now, it's going to be purely podcasting, but who knows? One day in the future, you might just see a room tour, a shoe tour, a Pokemon tutorial for
maybe arm sleeve tour if you guys are looking.
Yeah. One day there could be some more content other than podcasting here. So for the time being, we'll stay as a duo. I've got obviously the Fogdog, and maybe one day in the future you'll get some more videos from Mr. Basten. Anyway, still on Chase Group, a couple of questions from him. The ultimate goal, Basten. What's the ultimate goal? Time, distance, place? What do you want to do in life?
Well, the ultimate goal for everyone is, first of all, to break 4 mile, which if I don't accomplish that this year, I did something wrong at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, that would just be really sad.
Yeah, that kind of makes it sound like it's an easy task, which it definitely isn't. But he's now done the 1500 equivalent a couple of times, probably, I don't know, three, maybe 4 times.
Yeah.
Done the equivalent. Obviously, going out and actually breaking 4 in a mile is a different beast, but I have absolute faith you will.
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully we do that right and we get that done this year. But I'd say the ultimate goal, career goal for guys like Fog and I is it's kind of the same as every big time or medium to big time runner. It's Olympic medal.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Whether that's representing the United States or Australia and England at the same time. Who knows? Maybe we got the Aussie singlet and the England shorts. But
Brilliant.
The goal is the same.
Yeah. No, good stuff. And obviously, for me, pretty similar. I assume I won't be running for the US anytime soon. Collecting my 3rd passport one day maybe. But for the time being, running for GB. I've swapped over from Australia. I obviously grew up there, but this year my parents moved back to England. I was born in England. All my family's from England. Mum and Dad, and my grandma back in England. Grandma always has been, but hopefully represent England, represent GB, make these international competitions, and who knows, maybe one day win a medal. But for the time being, just being able to kind of keep running after college, and being able to hopefully join a group where you're in a group full of like-minded people, where we are here, but on a slightly different level, I guess. Being able to keep running and hopefully, making teams and winning medals and stuff. Well, winning medals is a long way down the line, but I think making teams is definitely realistic, and it's hopefully something that we'll come with.
Absolutely.
With running. Yeah. And on that, would you ever go up to 10K plus distances?
No, I wouldn't even consider it. Until my legs can't go fast anymore, that is not even a thought for me.
Yeah.
I just can't stand it. I mean, if you guys watch that cross country race this weekend, I'm sure you understand why I can't stand it. Moving back into 219th place just is not a good time.
Hey, you were 217th, I think. Give
Wow.
yourself a little bit of credit.
I just 2 places higher. That changes everything.
Yeah, but so for me, I think it's probably a little bit different. Basten has a lot of speed, and you really never seen anything like it. Well, I mean, maybe some people can match it, but honestly, it's unreal. I'm not quite in the same boat. Like, obviously, I've got decent speed, but I think for me, I'm probably going to end up following the more natural kind of progression. So for now, I'm still calling myself a miler, and hopefully I will be able to call myself a miler for a couple of years to come. But then who knows? Maybe even this year I'll become a 5K runner. Like, that might become my main event. And if it does, I think over the next few years it could end up being the 10K. And when I'm done with the track, I'll definitely. The plan is completely to move on to the roads. Over the last few years, I've kind of got a bit more of a taste for it. And even though I love running on the track, definitely, one day running the roads is something.
And the unbelievable thing about him overall is, so far in my career, I've been, at least since I've broken out, I've just been good at 1500, just been good at the mile. Granted, I haven't really had an opportunity to run the 5K yet since I've broken out, but
Yeah.
what he's done is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, he can run everything. He can go out and beat Kevin Koski in the 10K, which was another rival in the conference.
Yeah.
Won the conference in the 10K.
Yeah.
He could come back after the 10K and 2 rounds of 1500 and then win the 5K. I mean, this guy can do it all.
You're in that one.
Top 50. What he can do is ridiculous. Hopefully I can get to that level, but I mean, for a guy like him, it really might just end up coming down to what the competition does and what event looks like is going to give him the best chance to win at nationals.
Which kind of sounds like I could be trying to say the easy option, but at the end of the day, like, I feel like I'm pretty equally good at 1500 and 5K. Not quite at the top, nowhere near actually, but decent at both, like pretty decent.
Near.
Yeah, yeah. For the kind of pool that we're in right now, the NCAA, getting there. I mean, I've still got a fair bit of work to do, but like,
He's fourth indoors, so.
getting up there. But I feel like I could do okay in both, and so if one is gonna give me a better chance of winning a national medal, then for sure, because I'm happy neither for the time being.
Seriously.
Give me 10 years and I'll be sticking to the marathon. Anyway, moving on. Sam McGill back in Australia. I assume this question is directed at me. Any plans to come back to Australia anytime soon? And this is a tough one because the goal would be get me back there next week. I'll come back anytime. But realistically, this year in 2021, my parents moved back from Australia to England. Corona over in Australia, the situation overall was really good. Like they handled it well, but it got a bit overboard. Australia kind of turned into like a little bit of a prison island. It was unbelievable. And then mum and dad ended up moving back to England. So realistically now for me, Australia is a pretty hard place to get to. We don't get months and months off running. We don't get that much time off school. And it's just so far from everything. I love Australia, I grew up there, and I hopefully will get back there a lot in the future. But for the time being, England is home again, so I'll be back in England for Christmas, and then who knows, maybe next year, hopefully, I'll get back there, and I can't wait for that day when I do get back there. But the flights, not ideal. Moving on from that, Parker Max. We met Parker after regional cross country, and Parker, I have to say, I'm incredibly disappointed. The question, I'm hoping you meant to put like exclamation marks. It's a question. In the last episode, I was wearing a Morning Brother t-shirt, Fogdog merch, the Fogdog exclusive merch. And the question is, Morning Brother t-shirt with a question mark and an eyes emoji. The eyes kind of looking like, oh, this could be exciting. And I take this as, wow, like, what could this mean? But Parker, you're a loyal Fogdog subscriber, you have been for quite some time. And about 4 months ago now on the channel, I released merch when the rules changed for the NCAA. Not that I'm going to become a millionaire off it, I'm not going to retire from it, but merch came out and it's been around for quite some time. And yeah, you didn't know though. What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, wow. It's crazy because the Fogdog merch that's what I wear every day.
Yeah. Basten can't get enough of it. And Parker, you're lucky this podcast came out when it did, because if we had known that you didn't know about the Fogdog merch at regional cross country, don't know if you'd have got that interview with us. So go see the Fogdog channel, link in the description. Get yourself a Morning Brother t-shirt.
It's time to educate yourself.
I'm joking around.
We love you, Parker.
Yeah, we do. So anyway, moving on from the disappointment of Parker not knowing about the Fogdog merch, I forgot to actually ask you, Basten, back to you, Sam McGill, what version of Pokemon were you playing, Basten? And I think this is talking about regionals, because the Fogdog video came out, you were playing Pokemon, the night before the race.
Yep.
Do you want to tell us a bit more?
Honestly, I think at regionals I was playing Pokemon Unbound. I played pretty much all the ROM hacks on my computer, and I played all the mainstream games a million times. I'm actually playing Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearls. Just came out on November 19th. Already like most of the way through that game. Yeah, so I'm a huge fan of that franchise. I've been playing all the games. Just a nerd for it, really. But Pokemon Unbound is fun because like it's like an adult version of the game. Yeah.
I got to witness a little bit of it. I think he was kind of finishing it off in Florida the day before National Cross Country, or 2 days before, because it was perfect timing with the new games coming out. In the first version, the Unbound version, it's kind of like an adult version of it, isn't it? Your Pokemon mom got kidnapped. I remember following along with a little bit of the adventure.
I saved her.
Phew. Then the day before National Cross, the new ones came out, and we did our jogging strides at the National Cross Country course, and then you went to go and get those Pokemon games. So
had to drive to Best Buy. Well, Jay drove me to Best Buy to buy the game the day before our race, and then I played it. Maybe that's why I ran so bad. I'm going to blame it on that. That's a great excuse that I don't think any other runners have. So that's why I ran
Pokemon. Up all night playing Pokemon. Anyway, moving on to a slightly more serious question, not to downplay the Pokemon, but from Kevin M, who's another Fogdog subscriber. I believe he's a loyal Minnesota resident, citizen of the States. He kind of knows you, Mr. Basten. So how, you can start with this, how do you view the impact you are both having on the Drake distance program? Obviously it's very positive and a big bonus for Drake, but is it to any degree intentional on your part or more of a side effect of your success?
That's an interesting question. I think with everything we do, it's obviously intentional in some sort of way.
Yeah.
When we run well, I mean, we're both just aware of the consequences of that. Like, we're both making national finals, which is getting new recruits in. I mean, people want to come in and run with us, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And that's not something that we're like talking to our coach like, oh, like let's run well so that we can get more people in. But I mean, that's obviously an unintended consequence of that. I mean, we're running well for ourselves and we're running well for this program. So, it's definitely one of the reasons why. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why we want to be successful, most of it for intrinsic reasons, but one of the extrinsic reasons is definitely to bring in more recruits and to make this Drake team as good as it can possibly get.
Yeah, completely agree. And kind of touching on the point before about potentially transferring somewhere, I think it's great being at a school like Drake because, historically, we've had a couple of good runners come here in the past, Reed Fisher, Brogan Austin, who we'll probably talk a bit more about in a minute. But if we were somewhere like Oregon, somewhere huge, historically known for running, and we were doing what we were doing, making national finals, for me, 4th indoor, you making the national 1500 final outdoor. There's so many other guys who are out Oregon doing the same thing. And not that it makes us kind of purposely stand out at Drake, but having the platforms that we're kind of developing and doing what we're doing from Drake, I think is really good. Because, 2 years ago, obviously Reed Fisher he kind of probably graduated like a year or two before that. Brogan Austin, I think, graduated another couple of years before that. But there was no real kind of running people known from Drake at the time. And we've come in, I've now got the YouTube channel, we've got this, and we're kind of doing what we can. But it's not intentional in a way that is like, like, look at us, we're doing this from Drake. It's more, we're doing our best, we're running our best, we're putting in the work, and Drake is the place that we're at. So we're completely making the best of every opportunity we get, and I think it's paying off. Is helping with recruiting is good, and hopefully there's a lot more to come. I kind of feel like hopefully we're only just scratching the surface, and there'll be plenty more.
Yeah, for sure. And also, like diving into the end of that question, what are you thinking about your eligibility? Maybe come back in a room with me.
Yeah. So if you didn't watch the last podcast, we kind of talked about how everyone always thinks on live streams me and Basten are roommates. Never have been, probably never will be. But yeah, so my eligibility is kind of an interesting one. So I graduate in May. I graduate in May 2022, and I believe that I could come back and do cross country of late 2022, so fall of 2022, and then either indoor or outdoor of the following year. I can't remember which. The way I see it is like, if I come back, cross country would be great. I'd love to do it again, but I'll have to study. And then indoor, outdoor, they'll be great, but I'll have to be taking classes. And it's like, if I'm not going to get a degree out of it, I'll be going into a postgraduate degree. It's going to be a bit of work, probably nothing hard, but it's like, why like come back and study and run at the college level if there are other opportunities that do come up? And I'm still nowhere near like good enough quite yet to have something absolutely locked in, but I'm hoping over the next 6 months that I can kind of be at a level where I finish college. I'll be 23 when I graduate, and hopefully we'll be able to kind of be very happy with my time at Drake and move on to something new.
Yeah, for sure. And I think for the people that are wondering, you should let them know what degree you're getting.
Oh yeah, actually we did get a question on that. Baum squad, sorry for my pronunciation there. What are your majors? So I'm majoring in, my degree is business, majoring in marketing, 2 tracks in marketing. I had to really think about that one. What am I studying here? But yeah, business, majoring in marketing, 2 tracks in marketing, so sales and sales management, and then integrated marketing communications. There's going to be a lot of words on my degree, and to add to that, a minor in psychology. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. What about you?
He's a professional marketer and a semi-pro psychologist. I'm majoring in data analytics, which is awful, but it's like the businessier side of computer science. I always use sports analytics as an example. So if you guys watch football, there's a reason why teams run the ball a certain amount, pass the ball a certain amount. It all has something to do with analytics, what works, what doesn't work, and it's about using coding and using statistics to like figure that stuff out. And that's what I'm majoring in. A lot of math, a lot of coding. If you're not good at that, don't ever go into it because it's a lot of terrible, terrible work.
Yeah, I'll take it on board, and I definitely won't ever be going into it. I did one proper maths class at Drake, Business Calc, my first semester, and it was awful. On some of our running trips, I've seen Basten doing, he showed me kind of some of the exams he's had to take, and it is literally an alien language. It's not even numbers anymore. They're whipping out all sorts of signs, symbols, you name it. I couldn't even tell you what it says, what it means, nothing.
I couldn't tell you either.
Well, you're getting through it, and that's what counts. Now, on the topic of Drake, we briefly mentioned them before, Reed Fisher and Brogan Austin. Dominic Johnson, great point. We should try and get them on the podcast. Both Tim and Elite members, I would love to get them on. But kind of did knowing about them coming straight kind of have much of an impact on what you expected here?
I had no idea who they were until I got here.
Now that sounds terrible, but I'm going to butt in and say Basten probably wouldn't have heard of Jakobik and Bryson about 2 years ago.
I genuinely wouldn't have. I still have no idea. I've just recently become educated in the sport of running, and now I've obviously went back and looked at what Reed and Brogan have done, and they've been incredible. But so no knock on them, they're both awesome. But
yeah.
I just knew nothing about running in general. Couldn't have told you Olympic champions from as soon back as 2016.
And it's your own country.
Yeah.
It's alright. It's alright. For me, I think I heard of them both. I really didn't know much about either. They honestly, it didn't have much of an impact on my decision to come straight. It was more so the coaching and scholarship and the degree. And I think it's so great now that they've both gone professional. They're both Tim and Elite members. Brogan's focused on the marathon. Reed is too, but I think Reed will still kind of dive into some of those slightly longer track events, so 5K, 10K.
I think it's worth mentioning they've done a great job of reaching out as well and
absolutely
answering our questions when we need them, and they've just been great mentors really in every aspect.
I think it was after outdoor track where I got absolutely bollocked in my heat, didn't make the final. Basten made the final in the 1500 outdoor at Eugene, Oregon in June. And they made a group chat with both of us. And that's the kind of thing that we love to see. You know, they made a group chat with both of us, kind of just congratulated us for the season we'd had. And yeah, that's kind of what the sport needs. You know, those top guys who are running professionally, kind of helping out the up and comers, which is great.
By the way, if you guys are listening, we want you on.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It would be great. It would be great to get them on. Now, a question. This I think relates to you pretty well, Basten. Same with me. We've both run in both spikes. From, I don't even know how to pronounce this, it's kind of a random bunch of letters, but how are the Avantis compared to the Dragonflies? What would you say?
So I just ran in the Avantis for the first time this last weekend where I ran terrible. So, but yeah, it's the Avanti's fault. Honestly, I didn't really feel that much of a difference between the Avantis and the Dragonflies. I think maybe my foot felt like it was launched forward more in the Dragonflies. Like the Dragonflies almost forced me to be on my toes more. But I like both shoes a lot. You can tell they're high quality shoes. But yeah, I never really noticed a big difference really between anything. I just kind of care about having my own look. Like I care more about my arm sleeves than I do my spikes, honestly.
Long as you've got a pair of spikes and as long as they've got a carbon plate in them these days,
exactly.
And I completely agree. Like I've run in Dragonflies. I actually ran in Dragonflies for outdoor. We didn't get the new good kind of Adidas spikes, and you know it literally is known if you've got a carbon plate in your spike, you've got an advantage. So I kept running the Dragonflies for last year, and then this year, as in August when we came back, we got the Avantis for cross country. Tried them out, loved them, but realistically, they're not much different. There really isn't much of a difference. If you can run in Dragonflies, you can run in Avantis, and vice versa. Both are good. You probably do well in either. Yeah.
I would say though, if you don't have a spike with a plate yet, get one. Seriously,
they are nice.
It makes the world of a difference.
Yeah,
seriously.
I agree, definitely. And talking of spikes, well, obviously we've run the whole cross country season in them, but I think we're kind of close to finishing up with the questions. So moving on, the spikes will be coming back on very soon as probably 3 weeks from now. What's the plan? Indoor season coming up. What are you thinking?
Wow. My plan here is to maybe this first race, since we've been training for a 10K for so long, I would normally just want to start off dipping back into the mile, what I'm good at, and just build more confidence going into break. But I might hammer out a 3K just because I've been training for the longer stuff a little bit from cross, but we'll see. It depends what everybody else does. It depends what Fog does as well. I'm sure we'll want to race together so we can go for a good time. But I don't really know what I'm going to do yet. Obviously, towards the end of the season, I'm going to be focusing more on the mile. But short term, December 11th, opening at Iowa State, I'll either be in the mile or the 3K.
Yeah, brilliant. And probably so will I. For me, more likely 3K. Originally, it was even going to be a 5K, but I think that kind of got canned, and it'll now more than likely be a 3K. I am technically putting my name down for European under-23 cross country, which hopefully I'll qualify for. If I do, then I won't be racing indoor at the Iowa State meet. I might get one in before that, but who knows. But in general, talking about indoor, I love indoor. I hadn't run it before coming to America, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. I do kind of feel like the 3K might end up being like the ideal event for me indoor. Just kind of having a bit more strength now, doing some of the longer stuff, having a bit of mile speed. I feel like the 3K could be kind of where it's at for me.
Yeah. It's also worth mentioning what this guy does in the weight room. I mean, he's so strong.
Well, that's, yeah.
You can bench the bar now, right?
Yeah, I think I can pick it up. I can bang out a chin up, maybe. Yeah,
Were you arrested?
Yeah, we were in there today, and I used a resistance band, and that was about it for me. I'm learning, I'm getting there. Weights are something, you know, we all have our ups and downs.
I can't talk about either.
Yeah, they're whatever. But and then anyway, from that, so we've got indoor season opener, then a break, winter break, come back. You think probably a mile for you, and then outdoor, more than likely 1,500.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice. And for me, who knows? Could be the 5K outdoor. Kind of remains to be seen.
Yeah.
But I think probably talked about just about everything. If you have questions and you're still listening at this point, always comment them. Always comment on YouTube, and we'll get to them like we did today.
Sometimes even I have a question. Like, for example, I don't know what the difference between European XC is and the Commonwealth Games.
Yeah. Now,
which is sad.
Yeah, we're gonna get honest for a minute and say we did actually record an extra like 20 minutes. We have gone back over it, but the recording didn't work. So during that time, I mentioned about, you know, running goals and the Commonwealth Games being a big one, and Basten not just had to ask, you know, where the Commonwealth Games are or who's going to be running, or he kind of hadn't ever heard of it before. So yeah, European, that's kind of more Europe, you know, that continent, the big one, kind of just east of America.
It's worth like 6 points in risk, I think.
Yeah, risk, what a throwback. And then the Commonwealth Games. The Commonwealth Games involves all countries basically in the Commonwealth, and I think some may have left by now, but it's like, you know, England, maybe Canada. I think Canada's in it, Kenya, Australia, and the next Commonwealth Games are in Birmingham in England, 2022. So the last ones were at the Gold Coast in Australia, where I lived at the time. The next ones, literally half an hour from my house, and the next ones next year are in England, half an hour from where Mum and Dad now live. So ideal. Yeah. You got anything else for us?
Not really, no. Our next episode, we're definitely gonna get a guest on. So haven't quite decided who yet, but. Oh, they're gonna love us.
Oh yeah, yeah. Fingers crossed. But yeah, no, it would be great to get a guest on here and kind of hear some more running perspectives. So subscribe, give us some comments, check it out on Spotify, maybe other platforms by the time this comes out. But yeah,
it's also mullet season. Fox got one going right now.
Yep, Basten's will be coming back.
Mine will be coming back soon. So if you guys don't have one of those yet, that's also essential.
Yep.
If you want to run faster, get a mullet.
Brilliant. It's true. It is true. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So thanks for listening, everyone. Thanks for watching if you're on YouTube. Stay tuned. New episodes coming soon. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.